Folks, please put your hands together for Ms. Ali Katz.
Why are you here? Why are you here? What is actually in my lineage? What is actually in my ancestry? And we all have some flavor of it. Something that we're not proud of, something that we want to hide from, something that we don't want anybody to see. We are all inheritors and we are all legacy creators. And for many years I asked the question, why did I go to law school and become an estate planning attorney? Because money is the conduit. And we have an opportunity to redefine inheritance in our own selves and recognize that yes, we are the prayers answered of our ancestors.
I'm here to change your times. I am here to build a new life.
Why are you here? Why are you here? And of course, I don't just mean why are you here in this room, although I do mean that as well. But why are you here? Why were you born at this time? What were you born for? Because I do believe that we came here for a reason. And I also believe, and I'm curious, how many of you believe that? We came here for a reason. Yes, 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 yes. And I believe that we also chose, before we were born, what this reason was. What this reason was. And that we chose that as part of understanding our purpose here on the planet, our mission, our inheritance, our legacy. We've heard a lot of talk, maybe the words of speaking of our ancestors. And how do our ancestors get created? How do we become the future ancestors? Well, because I believe that we made a choice before we were born to come here at this very specific time to heal what we inherited and to create a new future reality. At a very practical level, before we came, we chose the parents that we would come through so that we could use these bodies, the very skills, talents, gifts, struggles, challenges that we had to work through are given to us as the very grist for the mill that we need to heal what needs to be healed right now to be able to create this new future reality. And it's up to us to use everything that we have to do it. Everything that we have to do it. And when I think back to that time, when I feel back to that time before I was born, I can feel the truth of the knowing of who I am, why I'm here, and what is mine to do. And for many years, I asked the question, why did I go to law school and become an estate planning attorney? Because that's what I've been for 20 years. I didn't come here to help rich people get richer, and yet I found myself right out of law school working at Charlie Munger's law firm on tax transactions for Warren Buffett. Is that why I chose to come here, to help the rich get richer? To help the rich save money on their taxes? That can't be right. And so I spent 20 years asking the question, what is it actually all about? Why did I make the choices that I made? How do I answer these questions? How many of you have spent your lifetime asking these same questions? Who am I? Why am I here? What is mine to do? And for those of you that haven't yet, I encourage you to start asking those questions now. I imagine, by the way, the fact that you're here in this room, you've been asking even if you didn't raise your hand. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for choosing. I want to thank you for remembering who you are, why you're here, and what is yours to do. I want to thank you for remaining on mission and saying yes and knowing that the exact people that you chose to be born through, that you have chosen to inherit from, that you've chosen to heal with gave you exactly what you needed to be able to create the new future reality all of our hearts are longing for. And where things may not make sense, if you look deeper, you'll discover that they actually do. Every single thing that you've done in your life, every single place that your ancestors came from. And I'd like you to take a moment right now to be in this question. What is actually in my lineage? What is actually in my ancestry? What have I inherited that might be living in me unconsciously as my ancestors survived and did what they needed to do so that you could be here right now? What was it? Did they lie? Did they cheat? Did they steal? Did they hide? Did they murder? Did they power over? What did they do so that you could be here today? I know more of the lying, cheating, and stealing variety. My ancestry is 100% Ashkenazi Jew. My ancestors had to run. They had to hide. They had to be resourceful. They had to cheat and steal in order to survive, and that lives inside of me. It is part of my inheritance. And we all have some flavor of it. Something that we're not proud of, something that we want to hide from, something that we don't want anybody to see. Because it's shameful. Because that's what it took for our ancestors to be able to survive, so that we could be here now. And we can all just take a big breath into that as we think and feel what it must have been like for them. Because as I asked the questions of why am I an estate planning lawyer, it was because I'm here to understand what estate planning really is, what inheritance and legacy really is, what is actually ours to do. And of course, sure, it's about inheriting the money and the resources, because money is the conduit that passes on the energy. And it's about so much more. It's about the values that we pass on unconsciously or consciously. And we have an opportunity to redefine inheritance in our own selves and recognize that yes, we are the prayers answered of our ancestors who did lie and cheat and steal and hide and power over and kill. And that we have the gift, the first generation in history, to have the time, energy, attention, and money, I call those our team resources, to do the healing work. The consciousness to do the healing work. And so of course it's up to us. Who else could do it? This is what we're here for. So thank you for choosing. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for remaining on mission and saying yes. And please remember that we are all inheritors. I gotta press that button. We are all inheritors. And I want you to come in a conscious relationship right now with what you are inheriting or what you have inherited. Yes, the money, and so much more. Because there's really only two things that we have in common. Anybody know what they are? What have we heard are the two things that we all have in common? You all know, death and taxes. That's a lie. We're going to have a panel about the voluntary nature of taxes, so look for that. We don't all have in common death and taxes. There's actually only two things that we have in common. Birth and death. Birth and death. We are all inheritors and we are all legacy creators. No matter what, we all came through a sperm and an egg and we're all going out. We are all at this very moment, right now, dying. Doesn't it feel so good? Just to acknowledge that Doesn't it make life so much more worth living when we can just acknowledge the reality? Wow, I'm a minute closer to death right now. Oh, there goes another second. Closer to death right this minute. So, my personal inheritance, my personal legacy is to create new financial and legal systems. With the brain I was given, with the time that I was born astrologically, as we were in the midst of a shift from the gold standard, the gold-backed standard, into fiat currency, I was a little baby. How could I know anything about that? And yet it lives in my DNA. Somehow I remember when interest rates were in the teens and there were lines at the gas station, even though I was a little kid. Because this is part of my inheritance, part of my legacy, is to create new financial and legal systems. My father was a con artist. Because that's part of my inheritance and my legacy, to heal. He was driven by scarcity, a deep insecurity that he could not provide if he didn't steal, if he didn't take, if he didn't lie. That's what we inherited. It's mine to heal that and to create new financial and legal systems that are not based in scarcity any longer, because that's not what's true, and we don't need it anymore. So I'm not here today to talk about those financial and legal systems. Yesterday, I gave the best talk that I've ever given in the history of my life on the new financial system, the new financial planning model that I'm creating, that helps you to shift from the lie of financial freedom that is keeping you trapped into a path, a journey to financial liberation that liberates you right now. If you want that, Justin, who's on my team, he's over there now, but he'll be at my booth, the personal family lawyer booth out front. If you want that talk, just go ask him for it. Give him your name, give him your phone number, give him your email. He'll send that to you, that talk. It's only available through a course that I taught, but he'll send it to you as my gift. So make sure to go see him and ask for the talk. Justin, you got that? Okay, great. So he'll get you that recording. And if you have not taken care of your own family with legal, insurance, financial, and tax systems, if you are not certain that your kids will be taken care of the way you want by the people you want no matter what, if you are not clear that you've got your own legal, insurance, financial, and tax house in order, I have a program for sale. You can also see Justin. It's very inexpensive. For the convention, we're giving you 50% off. You can talk to Justin about that as well. But I'm not here to talk about financial and legal systems. I'm here, of course, to talk about politics. I did not want to get involved in politics. How about you? Anybody else did not want to get involved in politics? Wow, we've got a room full of people here who did not want to get involved in politics, and yet here you are at the Independent National Convention. A political movement. Yes! We made it. We made it through our resistance, through our not wanting to. And I just want to share a little bit with you about my story of what had me say yes. Because this too is our inheritance and our collective legacy. And I could have easily moved to Costa Rica. I make plenty of money. I have a company that makes lots of money, serves lots of people, 600 lawyers trained in my methodologies and systems. They're all on recurring revenue. It's fantastic. I could leave the USA right now and move to Costa Rica and say, forget this. And believe me, there's part of me that really wants it. I spent half my year there. It's great. And the reality is I was born for this. I was born here in the USA. I'm not wearing my USA pin, but I do have my Phoenix red, white, blue. Yeah. And I have never felt patriotic until now. Because I know that this is part of what is mine to do. This is part of what is ours to do. And I simply could not turn my back on the USA and on the world that's impacted by us. And in so many ways, I really have Christopher to thank for it, because we've known each other for 10 years. And watching his commitment, watching his Yes, 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 creating everything that is here today for the past so many years and continuously talking to me about it, continuously educating me about it, was what had me say, okay, I will listen. I will show up. I will discover what is mine to do. And I began to hear the prayer of my ancestors. I did an NLP session where I got to go back into the womb, and I heard my mother. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? When she realized that she had married a man that she'd been a little bit conned by. He was so handsome, so smart, but he was an addict and an alcoholic. And there she was, pregnant with me, 25 years old. What are we going to do? And I recognized that that wasn't just her prayer. It was the prayer of my ancestors, running from the Nazis, coming here with nothing. What are we going to do? I am the answer to those prayers. You are the answers to your ancestors' prayers. We are the answers to their prayers. Thank you for being here. It is up to us to heal what we've inherited and create a new future reality. So I want to share the theory of change that Christopher has shared with me and make sure that you all hear it through my voice. Because sometimes he says a lot of things that can get lost along the way, and I want to make sure you really get the theory of change that I understand, that had me say yes. Because I've met thousands of people over my lifetime, over the past 10, 15 years, looking, who has the solutions? Who has the solutions? Where are the solutions? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And he's the only one that I have trusted to have the answer. So the theory of change that I have said yes to, that I hope that you will say yes to, is a theory of change where we get to educate the independent candidates to run on a platform of better governance. It is trans-ideological. Who can argue with better governance? It doesn't matter what we believe about the ideologies that divide us. We all want better governance, right? Now, what is better governance? It is government that is transparent, accountable, and participatory. So imagine this. Imagine that we educate the independent candidates, stewards, citizen stewards, to run for office on a platform of better governance and give them the campaign technology, the funding, and the support to actually be able to win on a platform of better governance. And then, when they win, to bring the GovTech into their governments, local, city, county, state, eventually national, that allows government to be transparent, accountable, and participatory. And that's when I got really excited. I'd never heard the words GovTech before. Who else gets really excited about GovTech? Yes. Transparent, accountable, participatory government. Imagine that the people in our cities would stop playing video games and play our cities instead. Imagine that we had such a good time playing our cities, our towns, our villages, our communities, our states, our nation together, because we brought in the technology for government to be transparent, accountable, and participatory. So this is the theory of change that I believe can actually make the change that we came here for. Independent candidates having the tools. I made a donation to Dan Osborne. Did anybody else make a donation yet to Dan Osborne? If you haven't, please get out there and make a donation to Dan Osborne. Let's get him into Congress. And what you're going to notice is that when you pull up the donation form, he's using a technology that is not for independents. So imagine that we give all of the independent candidates a technology for independent candidates. That's what Electify is. V1. Just like one day, once upon a time, there was a V1 of this phone. I don't know, now we're on 15. Eventually, there might be a V15 of Electrify. We get to start it now. We get to give the independent candidates the technology that they need to not have to use Act Blue or whatever the red one is, instead to use the technology for independent candidates. Please donate to Dan. $35. I donated $55. You can choose what you want to donate. Then we collect all of the funding. So United Independents Win is a path that has been set up so that we can put all of our dollars behind the candidates that can actually win. And you'll hear Christopher talk this week about the 2026 campaign and what we can do together. So yes, pull out your phones, get the QR code, and when you donate to the PAC, what happens is you become a member of the United Independent Movement. And together, as a result of that, we rise. Thank you so much.
Woo!